Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. It's black and white.
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to the SimGrid and another round of the SimGrid Endurance Cup. We're here for round 3 out of 4 from the Nurburgring. My name is Chaz Draycott. Alongside me in the box once again today is the wonderful Connall Courtney. Michael Hamlet is in the background giving us all of the information as usual. But Connall, just coming to this circuit, I mean we've seen some SimGrid racing around here before in the More Female Races series in the GT4 cars and that was exciting. But GT3 cars here in, once again, wet conditions should be just as exciting.
Yeah, I think one of the competitors here in this series has actually been doing a rain dance because we're getting bad weather throughout. These poor guys are going to have a bit of a struggle around a tricky track already in the dry with damp conditions, but it should be very, very exciting for us, the viewer. And as always, the viewer profits from chaos and excitement in any race series, really.
They definitely do, and I think that we're going to have a lot of fun watching this one. We've got qualifying just about to get underway very soon. The guys are just finishing their laps in free practice, and then they should get things all underway. There's going to be plenty of action though. There's quite a few names out there that I don't really notice, haven't seen from before, to be honest with you, but it's part of the wonders of this series. You know, we get a lot of drivers in and out each week. And just talk me through the previous meetings we've had, Connall, because we've had a bit of everything, haven't we?
Yeah, well, we've seen obviously at the start a bit of Porsche domination in terms of overall pace. We've seen, of course, the We've seen Monza. It was tricky for all considered. It was like a 3-hour sprint race. But one sort of familiar pattern that we seen was that what was formerly the Lilac team, the now Pro Ren Welton team, were the strongest team in terms of their consistency, and that is key for an endurance championship. Key for any championship is consistency over a range of races. Of course, the Pro Ren Welton team were these guys, and we've seen, like, for instance, the FTW racing team here, second in the championship, a second and a fourth. Still consistent, but not as consistent as the Pro Ren Welton team, so definitely they are the team to beat. But we seen last weekend a sort of a new challenger, the Race for Cat Motorsport Black team and the Aston Martin. They were sort of outsiders. I mean, they DNF'd in Monza and weren't even in the top 20 in qualifying at Monza. And then all of a sudden, boom, the Aston Martin came out of nowhere. Pole position at Silverstone and the race win, and a very dominant race win, looked unbeatable. So it'll be very interesting to see, can they carry this form over.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how they get on. Apologies there, everybody. I was in the wrong split out of two. I just jumped on very quickly, saw the Nurburgring qualifying and went for it. So here we are, we're in the right one. And this is the 99 that Connall was just mentioning there, the Pro Ren Welton car. Third at the moment with Chris Hoke behind the wheel. James Parker is currently second. Lucas Rommel is third. But this is just the practicing times at the moment. But well, there's so much that could go right and so much that could go wrong here at the Nurburgring, isn't there? I mean, we've got a lot of technical challenges around this circuit. These cars are not easy to get around here at all, are they?
No, not at all. I mean, we've seen plenty of incidents at Silverstone, which is quite a racy track, quite wide, a lot of opportunity to give each other room in comparison to the Nurburgring. Nurburgring quite narrow, can be one line in certain areas, so if you're going to make a pass, it might be a bit of a lunge, it might be a bit hurry in comparison to some of the passes at Silverstone. So yeah, I mean, we've seen sort of incidents for all of the top teams really at Silverstone. Some were more fortunate than others. Of course, the leaders, the Race for Cat team and the Aston Martin, they had their own incident. They were trying to pass a back marker and came together. Lucky enough, with the runoff at Silverstone, no harm was done, no damage was done, and they're able to continue on their winning ways. But yeah, it just really shows. I mean, 3 hours, we get a pattern of the race, sort of 1 hour, 2 hour in, and it could be a little spread out. It was spread out for the lead. Anyway, we've seen battles the whole way down the order, bar the leaders who had just ran away with it. But even when you get to the final hour, the final half hour, last 10 minutes, still anything can happen.
It can indeed, and we know that. Well, it's motorsport, isn't it? At the end of the day, the racing is real, and that's what everyone's been saying over lockdown when it came into the public eye. You know, I mean, it's most famously said by Jimmy Broadbent that the cars aren't real, but the racing is. And to be honest, he's right. The cars that we have out there certainly do look real. They are very interesting. But yeah, the actual sort of emotions and everything involved from the drivers is very real indeed. Apologies everyone to my slight connection issue there. It's better than it normally is, where it drops completely, but it seemed to drop quite a lot of frames there. So we're pushing on. All seems okay now. But we're looking at the McLaren at the moment, Connall, and this car really hasn't come into the limelight very much this season, has it? It's not really been a front runner.
No, I mean, we've seen strong performances from McLaren, and we've seen even Killian Ramin qualifying in fourth at Monza. But yeah, the McLaren's sort of been there or thereabouts. I mean, to be fair, most of the McLaren runners are not in pro class. They're either in silver or pro am. For those who are with us for the first time, white signifies pro, black pro am, and of course silver represents silver. But yeah, I mean, we don't have many McLaren runners in the pro class. But even saying that, I mean, we've seen a couple of the silver and pro am drivers up at the sharp end. So McLaren struggling a little bit, but no doubt there is some quality drivers running McLaren, so we can possibly see them up further than we expect.
Yeah, we certainly can. And one thing we do want to just take you guys through here is the fact that we have a hot lap from our very own James Parker with the Coach Dave Academy setup on the, I believe it's the Coach Dave Academy setup anyway, it's on the Nissan GTR around this circuit, so if you just bear with me 2 seconds, we'll get that on here for you, and we'll take you round a lap of the Nurburgring, the Grand Prix circuit here in the GTR then. Coming down the main straight up into 5th gear. It's a very, it feels like a very long straight down towards turn 1, but it's not that big. You've got a slight curve on the braking zone here into turn 1. Very tight corner, blind apex most of the time. Lets it run out to the left-hand side, over to the right again, opens up this long left-hander that goes over a crest. So you'll see drivers wiggling around a bit as they get on the power, trying not to take too much AstroTurf and then tuck it in here on the brakes into the left-hander. Use all of the curb that you can and a bit of the concrete on the inside as well. Up to 3rd over the crest, another bit of runoff on the left. It's one of those circuits that's really been improved with time, with runoff areas here and there, but still keeping the grass as a rogue cone in the middle of the circuit there as he gets on the brakes. The camber really helps you into the left-hander and into the right-hander. It's slightly curved on an angle. Back on the throttle. Careful as it levels out, though, because the cars will spin up the rears there. All the way down to the very famous hairpin at the bottom of the hill. Straight line the braking zone as best you can. Get turned in slightly early just to make sure that the car pitches in. Again, the camber helps you here. And then up the hill you go into the Schumacher S's. Very, very famous corners up here. And it's hard to get that second part right because the first apex is almost blind. Get the car straightened up on the brakes again. More camber helping you out here, but it's easy for that curb to unsettle you. It goes over a crest again, so we'll see plenty of wheel spin. And then chucks it. Look at the aggressive turn in there through the right-hander. And then all the way down the final section of the lap. Flat out through the right kink. And then you see the markers on the right-hand side, braking at about 75 metres, running the faster of the 2 chicanes here at the Nürburgring. Bit of corrective oversteer, plenty of curb on the right. You can see how tall that curb is. And then the long final corner gets the car pitched in really well. It seems quite responsive at the front and across the line. A wonderful lap there in the Nissan GTR. But to be honest, it just goes to show, doesn't it, Connall, that these Coach Dave Academy setups, they are evidence that all these cars can be quick and competitive, because we've seen a lot of people running different setups before, and, well, the Coach Dave Academy ones just seem very consistent, don't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of car choice, I'd say the top tier of racers does come down to perception a lot of the time. It's basically who's fastest, what's he driving, right, I need to be driving that. And that's sometimes what it comes down to, instead of focusing on a car that you gel with stylistically. And it's not just a sim racing problem, it is a problem in real life motorsport as well, that you have to be on whatever manufacturer or whatever car, whatever bike to be winning, when a lot of this game is in the head and it's just about working through a setup. And we've seen there with Coach Steve Academy setup, they're doing a 53. I mean, that's scary, and for the perceived slow car of the Nissan, I mean, that's not slow at all.
Well, definitely. I mean, I know that the conditions are different here. We've got a greasy track, but David Martinez, number 55, doing a 1:57.8 at the moment, nearly 4 seconds, well, over 4 seconds off that pace. And mainly that is coming down to the conditions, but at the end of the day, you've got to think that in the dry, you only gain a couple of seconds, so it's got to be along the lines of being quicker than these guys around here. This is Artur Czarnecki in the 3M Racing Porsche, number 44. Onto the brakes into the final chicane. Oh, runs a little bit wide on the way in, but manages to get it settled. But we've got another great spread of cars here this time round, Connall. But the Porsches, once again, I mean, we've got Chris Hoke second place. Robin Pogadal is now down to 4th place, and then 3 of them with Zachary Royal, Ogorodnikov and Lucas Rommel in 6th, 7th and 8th. So it's just the performance all round of this Porsche has really been the talking point of this championship and also other series on the sim grid, hasn't it?
Yeah, we see it in the Sprint Cup as well. Porsche looking very, very strong. But at the same time, we've seen these drivers who are running the Porsches also at the sharp end in GT4 and other GT3 cars when there's one-off races. So it's not entirely down to the Porsches. It's not it's not a case of going on into the Porsche and then all of a sudden you're winning split one races or pro splits. These guys are fast drivers no matter what car you put them into, but it does, of course, there is some aspect of the Porsche being a very, very strong car, but Nurburgring, hopefully, and these conditions will mix it up a little, and we've seen that in free practice.
Yep, that's it. And then, well, now it's just time to get qualifying underway. We've got a couple of cars that are in different liveries to what we've previously seen. This is split 1 of 2. I was in the second split before, so that did catch me off guard somewhat. So apologies about that, everyone, but here we are. All good to go, and you can see the Audi there leaving the pit lane, and I believe that is it Phil Vitt? It is Phil Vitt in the Mucker Motorsport Audi. This thing's been great to watch this season, hasn't it? Not just because of the fact it's bright pink and it's right in your face, but they've just been very exciting drivers to keep an eye on, haven't they?
Yeah, and they had a great run at Monza, although it was instant packed. Silverstone was a little bit quieter in terms of performance, but I mean these guys are sort of outsiders for a podium, you would say. The talent is definitely there. It's going to be interesting what they can do at Nurburgring. Of course, the Audi should work not so bad around here. But yeah, I mean, they've had a struggle. They were 5th in Monza and 13th at Silverstone. So if they had continued their Monza form, they'd be right up there, actually battling for the top 3 in the championship. But in saying that, there's still a few rounds to go, plenty of time for other teams to make mistakes. And we see that with especially the Race for Cat team. They DNF'd in Monza and then stormed to the win at Silverstone. They are 4th in the championship, 41 points back on the Pro Van Welton team. And that does sound like a big ask to try and claw those points back. But we've seen bad races for a lot of the favourites, so it's almost. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. But the Pro Van Welton team, if they have a bad run, these guys who we weren't even looking at the start of Silverstone, we weren't even looking at these guys for the top 10, let alone the win, because they were just nowhere at Monza.
Yeah,
these guys really could be back in the championship hunt.
They certainly could, and with another performance like Silverstone, like you say, we could see them pretty much almost wrap up the title here. But with the point structure not really favouring that DNF, well, I mean, any good point structure won't favour a DNF, let's face it, but you know what I mean. That DNF has hurt them a lot, so for them to get a good bounce back from that would be very interesting. Here is the Audi R8 LMS of Mikael Capera in the Silver Racing Team 101 car. You can see him weaving around a bit, slowing it down, just getting a bit of clear air ahead of him, ready for this hot lap. And very soon you'll hear the 5.2 litre V10 scream into life. Wide apex on the final corner, spins up the rears, and here it goes. Absolutely wonderful sound as it flies down the straight. He's got the number 15 of Vincenzo Rossetti just behind him in the Porsche. So those two together on track, the Porsche with the lights on, completely ablaze there as he tries to give it everything. We can hear one of the McLarens out there. The Coach Dave Academy Ferrari, James Parker on track at the moment. Look out for that car, because it's another one, isn't it, Connall, where they've had bad luck in both races so far, and then it's just been a comeback drive the whole time.
I've felt so bad for them, because they're also the Coach Steve Academy team are in the World Cup as well, and 3 races so far if you count the 2 in the Endurance Cup and the first round of the World Cup. And you know, this car, these drivers, the way they have this car set up, they should be fighting for podiums week in, week out, and you'd expect them to, but they've come back from a first lap incident in Monza and another couple of incidents at Silverstone. I think they got put onto the wrong tyres when it was mixed conditions at Silverstone, tyres that they didn't want, and then they got a drive through, I believe, for speeding in pit lane or something to that effect at Silverstone. So 6th, they recovered 6th in Monza, 9th at Silverstone. So their recovery drives actually, and especially James Parker was the standout with his recovery drive. He had a phenomenal stint. The recovery drives have been great, but again, for the team and for the drivers of that quality, a 6th and a 9th, it's not great when you know their calibre.
Yeah, that's it. We tipped them, not just because they're the Coach Dave Academy car, but we tipped them to be one of the favourites for the championship just because we know how quick those guys are. Someone that has been quick this season is Alex Leaf in this Bentley. He's had mixed luck as well, but this car's been right up there, to be fair, with the performances. He's 2.5 seconds off the pace at the moment, though, so something not quite going right on that first lap for him. The other Bentley out there is... Oh, he's just changed up a position, so he's just disappeared from where I clicked him. But it was Dominic Tower in the other Bentley, in the number 207 car. And he's just moved around on my screen, annoyingly. But we'll try and grab him. Where's he gone now? Honestly, he's just completely disappeared off my screen. The strange one. There he is. So this is the Bentley Team M Sport car as well, and I mean, we were talking about how we love that livery anyway last time round, but it certainly does suit the green, and it's obviously a colour they've run before with their famous Le Mans efforts as well. There is actually a Lexus just ahead of him on track there, and I think that is the number 253 of Paul Diedrich. It is. Now this car, in the Sprint Cup, we saw just how good that Lexus is in wet conditions. Apparently it's a green track right now, so it's nice and clean. But if it gets wetter, that Lexus comes alive, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And we've seen that Lexus be strong in the wet before, especially Sprint Cup as well. There at Brands Hatch. Jim McCauley ran away with it. But yeah, it's very interesting, the Lexus. And we do know it's quite difficult on tyres for a sprint or endurance series over the course of 3 hours. Might be a little difficult to manage the tyres. We see no Lexuses in the World Cup, the longer endurance races, which is a shame because it's a car that I drive in this game. Probably my most used car. I really enjoy it. Great sound, great look, drives well. So it's a shame to see it be so harsh on the tyres. But again, probably people better than me can get better advantages out of the Lexus. But again, Diedrich, 9th place, that's not a bad showing, and we've seen a few of the Lexus teams be there or thereabouts over the course of this Endurance Cup, maybe getting caught up in a few instances here and there, but the pace is there, definitely.
It certainly is. Chris Hoker, speaking of someone with the pace there at the moment, he's currently fastest, and he's about to go 3/10 quicker by the look of it. He's partway round his lap though, so that can all go away, we all know that. It can disappear in the blink of an eye when you're on a hot lap. I actually did some lapping around here earlier on. Anyone that follows me on my social media will have seen that for the first time in about 3 months I have actually plugged my sim racing rig back in and been using triples, and I did a bit of driving around here earlier in the Lexus, of all things, just to see what it's like, and it was quite interesting. Very similar conditions. I didn't quite know exactly what the conditions were going to be like, but it's very tricky. Mid-corner, you feel like there's just a sudden loss of grip, like it turns in nicely and then it all of a sudden goes away and then oversteers a bit on the exit in these conditions. So it is green though, so it's a bit cleaner for these guys out there. But I think that it's going to be a bit of a challenge this afternoon as Hoka goes back to the top there, 78 thousandths faster than David Martinez. Of course, one of the race winners from Silverstone. And UCOG Monkey says, I'm with car 96. Good to see you, mate. He's in... Well, it's Niels van der Kokelt just going back out in that car, I believe. The Sidemax Motorworks machine. But inside the top 5 at the moment, Connall, we've got a handful of Porsches. Well, 4 in fact inside the top 5. So they're just showing us... sorry, 3 in the top 5 now. Just to show us how quick that car is.
Yeah, showing the strength of this car. A German car around a German track, you would suspect being quite quick. But yeah, it's interesting to see the Porsches looking strong. But again, David Martinez in that Aston really looking to put the pressure on. And realistically, with the DNF at Monza, with the consistency so far that the Pro and Welton team have had, you would suspect, I mean, Chaz, at least podium or bust for this team for the remaining few races, and really need to win. They need to win to have any chance of keeping the championship alive. Yeah,
for sure. They had a fantastic run at Silverstone, obviously taking the win. They made it look easy, but yeah, they need to keep that momentum. That's one of the main things in a championship like this. It's not many rounds, so one tiny poor result or issue here and there can ruin a championship. Absolutely. So you need to be on it for every single round. still a bit cloudy here. It's 14 degrees, so it's a cold, cold track at the moment. Not the hottest of surfaces. But the rain, interestingly, has stopped. So, as it's going to get darker over the course of this race, because it's 7 PM in game time, it's not really going to get any hotter, is it now?
No, this is this is the hottest it's gonna get, and we haven't seen that because it's been early morning in the few races that we've done. So yeah, we're gonna get into the evening. We're gonna get into a bit of night racing, which should be very enjoyable indeed. Aesthetically, it'll look beautiful. It'd be interesting to see, if this is a couple of these drivers' first endurance series as such. Will they have any experience in nighttime racing? I mean, when you're carrying this pace, it shouldn't really be too much of a factor, but it can be. It can be just another variable, and there already is so many variables to think of in an endurance race. Now you have to deal with the nighttime and the lights behind you, the brake lights in front of you, etc., etc. So, yeah, the darkness might not be a couple of people's ally, but we will see who was born and moulded in it.
Well, I've been told, by the way, from Michael, that the actual race time is going to be simulated as if it was the next day. So it's 12 PM until 6 PM. That's because there's 2 times progression. So it's a 3-hour race, and it's progressed to be 6 hours in the sim. So we're actually going to get a sort of afternoon to evening race. So the lighting conditions should be nice, but yeah, these guys won't have to worry about darkness. But oh well. This is Valentin Chorus at the moment in 4th place. It's FTW Racing, forgot to warm up. And we didn't really see a lot from them at Silverstone, did we? It was Monza. They had quite a decent performance and obviously caught our attention with the team name. But just they're one of those teams that just needs to get back on the radar a bit, aren't they?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, we've seen the team name, and we've mentioned it a couple of times, but in terms of performance, really just second in the championship, just petered off a little bit at Silverstone, the number 991 car. Of course, second at Monza, 4th at Silverstone. But in saying that, 18 points off the championship lead. So still really in the hunt. Looking a bit stronger here. Fourth, but not a million miles off in qualifying. But when it comes to a 3-hour race, qualifying, if you're in thereabouts, you still have a chance to win. But Ogorodnikov really starting to put the hammer down. And speaking of the Ogorodnikov team, the like and subscribe team, they are 3rd in the championship on 65 points to the leaders 92. So they themselves, they need to get back in the hunt, and you would suspect their target right now is to beat the Pro Ren Welton team, just to take points off them, because they need to. I mean, with the difference there, with the 27 point difference there, it's really, really difficult if you lose more points yet again in this round, going into the last round, to beat the Pro Ren Welton team. So we need to take a chunk off the Pro Ren Welton team. But it's funny that when you're leading the championship, I mean, I'm looking through the championship standings at the minute. There's 5 or 6 teams below the Pro Ren Welton team that are still there or thereabouts in terms of the championship hunt. So the poor guys at Pro Ren Welton will have a massive target on their back.
They will indeed. I was just scanning down that the standings there, and it's a 1-2-3 for Porsches at the moment. And I apologise to the FTW Racing team, because I thought they were a little bit further down, so I didn't even look in the top 3 for them, but they've actually held station very well there in 2nd place. 2nd at Monza, 4th at Silverstone. Obviously the first win going to Pro Ren Welton, and that fantastic chase at the end of the first round at Monza really had us on the edge of our seats. This is the first time we've seen Chorus this season. He's replacing Luka Vidlik for this race. And I'm just having a look down the order just to see who did well at Monza and not so well. I mean, Mucker Motorsport 5th at Monza, 13th at the second race at Silverstone. HYDR Racing in the Lamborghini Huracan, they were 4th at Monza, 15th at Silverstone. They are not here today. But Yeah, I think that obviously the biggest contrast is, of course, the Race for Cat car, the Race for Cat Black Machine, because a DNF and a win, it's literally the worst and best result you can get within the 2 race meetings. So maybe they might go a bit mid-ground today, but judging from qualifying so far, they're not doing that.
Yeah, and we've seen the quality of these guys. I mean, looked like they're on rails with the conditions being so poor. I mean, these guys just ran away with it. I really didn't expect it. As we've said before, nowhere in Monza, even in qualifying. It's not as though they were up at the sharp end in qualifying and then just had an instant and were forced to retire. They were nowhere in qualifying. Don't know whether that was because of a few issues or whatever, but with the pace they're showing, you would think it was actually issues in Monza qualifying. 4th at the minute. But the pressure's on them now. They need to be pretty much inch perfect for the rest of this series with the 2 rounds remaining. So yeah, going to be a big challenge, but the way they're driving this, certainly look up for it.
They do indeed. And an interesting thing to note is that in the Pro-Am at the moment, it's Madhouse Racing NA that lead that championship. Maximum points, 2 race wins in the Pro-Am class in the number 89 car. But at the moment, they're way further down the order, aren't they? Down in 32nd place, 2.3 off the top time in the entire session. So plenty of work needed there if they're going to keep that 100% record. Because a lot of the other teams around them in that championship have really done well. I mean, the guys in 2nd place, CzechRealCup.com in the Lexus, they're 4th and 2nd in their class. 2 Seas Endurance Blue with 3rd, then 4th. You know, it's very, very close up there in the top of the standings. And then just having a look at the silver class, it's the Moto Domec community team, the 207 Bentley, that is actually the highest in that class in the championship so far. Just trying to find them on my timing screen now. They do keep disappearing off my timing screen. There they are. Dominic Tower in the number 207 Bentley. Obviously, it comes up as Bentley Team N Sport, but it's Moto Domec community team. And then it's the Sidemax Motorworks Bentley as well that is in 2nd place, the number 95 car. So there's good showings from Bentley in there, to say the least, really. I would say Battle of the Titans to coin a phrase, but it's just because they're massive lumps of kit, aren't they, Connall?
Yeah, I mean, you were making the point there was a ton taken out of them to make them into
ton and a half.
A ton and a half. I mean, my God, that's
like
that's crazy.
Like post-lockdown me getting out of the car.
It's stunning when I think of coming from a motorbike background. When I think of my bike weighing like 140 kilos with a full tank for a ton and a half, that is massive. But yeah, they're big cars. But I mean, the guys have been showing them to be a good package, and a little understeer. We've seen them struggle at Silverstone maybe for the corner speed of the rest of the cars, but they have looked strong. It's quite a stable, a balanced car, and they've been doing well, and you can see it in that championship, of course, 1 and 2.
Yeah, certainly doing well. It's good to see the Bentley out there doing well. Chris Hoker at the moment is 3rd, just to remember everybody that there is a qualifying session going on, but we like to round up these things in the championship and just let you know what the situation is. Igor Ogorodnikov is currently on pole position for like and subscribe. They've been doing really well as well, haven't they, Connall? They're one of those teams that's just been up there the whole time.
Yeah, and realistically, Ogorodnikov and the like and subscribe team should... I say should as if they were robbed of it at Silverstone, but they should be 2nd in the championship in terms of pace. They were doing really well. They were sitting there battling for 2nd and 3rd at Silverstone, but then the whole tyre dilemma happened. Ogorodnikov's the team stayed out and pretty much melted their tyres, and they faded right the way back to 5th place. So a bit unlucky there, although is it luck or is it strategy? It's very difficult to tell. But yeah, this team certainly are the nearest challengers in terms of pace to the Pro and Wellington team, or at least have been for the past 2 races. But track now at fast, so it's getting grippier. It's still quite cool. That'll be good for the engines. But as we see Ogorodnikov go over the line, we're going to see a massive amount of improvement here as the track grip gets better.
Yeah, I think this last dash at the end of the session will really wake some people up. We've got 4 Porsches, well 5 in the top 6. Robin Pogadol is 6th at the moment for MSR Liga. David Martinez, the only car in the top 6 that isn't a Bentley, and he's just gone off. Isn't a Bentley, isn't a Porsche, he's just gone off the circuit. That's not good. Malinowski there, Maciej Malinowski doing a great job. The silver class car, SRJ Motorsport, leading the silver class by quite a long shot at the moment, and they've been quick so far this season, haven't they? I think. Did they not take the win at Monza in their class? They did. They did not know it was the Bentley that took that. SRJ was second in that class. Yes, because the Bentley took it right at the end of the race, didn't they?
Yes, that's correct. So they've finished second at Monza and then 8th at Silverstone. So a bit of a drop off at Silverstone, maybe caught up in an instant or two there, because they have looked strong, especially at Monza. So a little disappointing on their behalf to have finished 8th, but they are up there, and you see the gap now in qualifying. They are really trying to push 74 points. I mean, the silver class championship stands are really tight. 74 points for the Moto Domec community team in that Bentley that we were discussing earlier. 68 points for the Sidemax Motorworks number 95 team in the Bentley. The Red Linezak Racing also on 68 points in third, and then we have the SRJ team that we were just alluding to on 62 points. So the top 4 really separated by not a lot, 12 points. So yeah, it's still all to play for, really.
Definitely is, and the session has just come to an end now, everybody. So the drivers are now rounding their final laps. Ogrodnikov, Valentin Chorus, and Chris Hoker all in the pits at the moment. Lucas Rommel is the only car in the top 6 that is still out on track at the moment. So we'll have a quick look at Lucas. He's actually quite late on in the lap. Not long to go for him now. See whether anyone crossing the line improves. Looks like Malinowski's 2 tenths faster here. Goes up to 3rd overall. What a brilliant lap that is from the McLaren. Going up there as well, I believe Johannes Weiss has just gone up the order as well. He did. Lucas Rommel, though, is 9 seconds down on his best at the moment, so this is most certainly an in-lap. Who else is improving? Phil Vitt comes out the final corner, crosses the line, up to 13th place overall in the Audi. So that's the end of that session there, Connall, and well, it was just as close as we were going to see it, really, wasn't it? I mean, once again, we have all of these guys very close together. I mean, look at the times. I'll just get into the sim and make sure that I can change it to the top car there. Ogrodnikov inside that McLaren, but look at that. The top sort of 10. I mean, the top 10's less than 9 tenths of a second. It's crazy.
Yeah, very tricky conditions too, which would generally lend to a more spread out field. In terms of, you know, mixed conditions, some people gel well with it, some people don't. When it's optimum conditions, everyone's on the pace, so to see it so close again is really positive. But just want to make a point. I was talking about the Silver Class Championship, and I was talking about the top 4. The top 8 are actually covered by 22 points. So
wow.
The Silver Class, I mean, 8th place could still win this championship. It's very significant. This race going into the last race of the season. Next time out at Paul Ricard, it's very significant for this race to have a good result. So the top 8 separated by 22 points in this championship.
That's feisty, to say the least. Connection Lost 404 says, pray for us. We're the only Merc. They are currently down in 28th place. Andrzej Dedacek all the way down there. But this is this is scary close so far, this championship. What we're going to do, everybody, is just give you a couple of adverts here from Thrustmaster and Coach Dave Academy. Don't forget they do partner with us, and we are very grateful for that. And we'll just grab you a quick pair of adverts, literally barely 30 seconds, and we will be right back. 1 sec. And there you have it then. So, very close qualifying session here to start the day at the Nurburgring. And the race broadcast will be on in less than 20 minutes, I should say. So, if you come back with us at 2:45, we'll be good to go, and we will have the third round of the SimGrid Endurance Cup with you, Connall, just ahead of that one. Well, we can run through it at the time in terms of what we expect, but what do you think in terms of that qualifying session? Did you expect it to be that close?
Yeah, it's typical with SimGrid, really. Ogorodnikov, though, really stating his intentions with that pole position, and we're just seeing now the guys who are close to that championship lead, but not obviously leading the championship, just pipping the number 99 car, Chris Hope, fourth, the championship leader. So those two guys, first and second, they are reversed. They are Ogorodnikov third in the championship course, in the team that is second in the championship. So they just simply need to beat that Pro Ren Welton team. And if they can put another couple of cars in front in terms of Lucas Rommel, Dan Martinez, I mean, they are strong drivers. Could see it become very close going into the last round of Paul Ricard.
It will. It really will. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been the qualifying stream. We're just going to get everything set up and ready for the race stream. 3 hours here at the Nürburgring lies before us. My name is Chaz Draycott. Joining me in the box will be, and has been, Connall Courtney. Michael Hamlet again giving us all the info in the background. Thank you very much for that, mate. But if you join us again, like I say, in about 20, maybe 15 minutes now, at 2:45, we'll bring you the race. It's on another stream. Just search for the SimGrid on YouTube if you haven't already subscribed to us or liked any of the videos, and you'll be able to find it there. But we shall see you very, very soon for round 3 of the championship.